Hey everyone, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
I'm a Mushi.
Does that make me a Mushi-shi?
No.
I honestly don't know what the extra she is for.
I believe it's some archaic kanji for like doctor.
Ah. I guess that makes sense.
He's a Mushi doctor, and Mushi is bug. But Mushi, as in Mushishi, the Mushi and Mushishi is made up of three Mushis. Well, it's three Mushis, so it's the buggiest of the bug.
Indeed. Great bug.
It's a mushi. So it's a very mushi. Is the lowest form of barely life.
So if you had like a mushi,
yeah,
what would that be?
It'd be a mushi.
So what have you been up to last week?
Played Caverna finally.
What's that?
It's UA Rosensburg, other big farming game after Agricola. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah, you have dwarfs.
Dwarfs?
Instead of drafting or having the cards that are like jobs and farm equipment, you have a cave that you can build little rooms in.
Huh.
And instead of just going a strict farming route, you can mine for ore and then give your dwarfs hats and then go on adventures to get free stuff.
So this is a board game that you get hats?
Yeah.
Huh.
Your dwarfs get dwarf hats.
Oh. Are there any other species of people?
No, just dwarfs.
Just dwarfs.
Well, I mean, there are donkeys. There are cows and ships and piggy wiggies.
We used to play Agricola a lot until a friend of mine realized that he could script everything in Excel. And then it sort of ended that.
First off, that doesn't completely work. And second off, what's the point? It's like, yes, no, of course you can do that. You can write a computer that can beat people at Go. That doesn't mean we should stop playing Go.
I assume it's because he likes the challenge of trying to beat the system and not really
It's still not going to completely beat the system because there's too many variables. Yeah. There's too many variables, especially when you start drafting the cards, because then you also have to draft optimally and this, that, and the other thing.
I'm sure they could do it. Maybe.
That's a lot of variables. I mean, I'm sure it could be done by somebody, but especially since you'd never know what cards are in the pool, so you'd have to weight all of those. And then all future picks are weighted off of the first pick that you made.
Oh. That is kind of hard to optimize.
Yeah, it's like drafting Magic cards. Your weights are going to change every pack that you get to see. So
on your recommendation,
yes.
I did download and play Firewatch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
Well, I liked it until it was over. And that's not just because it was suddenly over. It's because I was sort of led to believe, both by the game verbiage and just the way that it plays, that it's a branching story game.
Yeah.
Turns out it's not.
Well, it both is and it isn't. There aren't a whole lot of multiple endings, but, I mean, there are a couple.
There aren't. There are no multiple endings.
No, really?
Yeah. Because the first thing I did when I finished it, is I was like, okay, I'm going to play through it the way I want now. The way I think I would play the character. And then I'll try to get all the cool ones later, because it's a short game. I'll do that.
Yep.
So I just went online to do a quick, okay, how many endings am I shooting for? Like, is it a lot? Is it a few? Turns out there's none. It's just the one. And it's like, well, what's with all the different dialogue options? It's like, well,
because there's also all these different dialogue answers.
Yeah, it's like each time you do that, changes the experience you have of Delilah. I'm like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's true.
That's cool, but where's my other endings?
It doesn't necessarily need other endings to still be a very satisfying experience.
And it was. I liked it. It was a little short.
I mean, that's true.
I'm glad I got it on sale and not full price. Yeah, it's a good game. There's some aspects of it I didn't really understand. Like, you have a disposable camera that the only point is you have pictures in the credits.
Yeah.
Little things like that. It's like,
well, because it is an experiential game. It's not 100%. Like, why do we have cameras in real life?
Sure.
Like, why?
I'm just saying that kind of game is kind of like Chekhov's gun. You assume this thing is going to have significance at some point.
No.
It sets a flag somewhere. If I take a picture of a certain thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no. See, you went about it all wrong.
I did, apparently.
You're not used to this sort of genre.
This genre of it's really a book.
Yeah, it's a walking sim.
Yes. It is a walking sim.
It's a conversational walking simulator. That's a genre these days. So, I mean.
So I discovered. But yeah, I recommend it if you can find it on sale.
It's pretty old at this point. So, I mean, should be on sale often.
I only knew it was on sale because you said something.
Yeah, I guess its retail is still $20. But, I mean, you should be able to find it for cheaper most of the time. Either on Good Old Games or anything else. What's the other one? Humble Bundle. It'll be on that store pretty often.
Mm. The only other thing I did this week was because the wife had her wisdom teeth out, which is super fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time to basically just sit there and not get anything done because I had to do medical stuff every about 30 minutes. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch some anime. It's on my backlist. And I chose to watch most of Youjo Senki.
Saga of Tanya the Oh yeah, it's that witch. It's that Hitler witch.
It's basically Hitler Witch.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I like the historical stuff they're kind of doing because it takes place in alternate 1918 to 1930s. So instead of World War I and II, there's just the one, and it's happening. Both are happening at the same time, essentially. Episode 1 was really good. I liked episode 1. I don't like where they just went with episode 2. Because episode 1 presents, there's this 9-year-old girl who's crazy good at being a military commander. And you're like, well, that's weird, obviously. Why would that happen? And then you find out in episode 2 that it's because originally she was a salaryman and she died. And then she was reincarnated as a little girl. Yeah.
As you do.
As you do. And the premise of that is that as he's dying, you never actually see his face. As he's dying, basically God stops time, or some beings claiming to be God, and says, I see you're an atheist. Why don't you believe in me? And he gives a bunch of normal Reddit answers. And the being is basically like, all right, well, here's the thing. I'll make a wager with you. I'm going to reincarnate you. If you can manage to survive and die a natural death, then you can continue in the reincarnational cycle of stuff. But if you don't, if you manage to get yourself killed again, then you go straight to hell. It plays a lot with ideas, Japanese ideas of what Western-ish God is like. But more to the point, the girl acts very much like a good soldier and a good person. But since you hear her running internal monologue, everything she does is narcissistic. She's a complete psychopath.
Yeah,
and so
nice.
So it also plays with, well, if people are doing things and they seem to have good intentions and the intentions lead to good outcomes for people, are they evil? Because clearly she's evil. We know she's evil, but none of the other characters know that. They just think she's ruthless, but she's good at her job. So it's interesting, psychologically.
That's nice.
I haven't finished it. I think I got 8 in. It's only got 12.
You're almost done then. Yeah, it's only 12. I'm just checking.
I would have finished it, but we had to go watch baseball.
I mean, that's always a good reason to stop anything.
I had to go to Indinapolis and watch the Indians win.
Yeah, they're really good. They have been for, past 5-8 years.
Here's the thing is, first couple times when we went with our parents, they would always win. And when I first met my wife and took her down there, they won. But then between then and now, which is about 4 years, every time we've gone, they've lost.
Well, I think that's more bad luck on your part.
I know it is.
I think they've won the pennant for that league.
But
twice in the span of those 4 years.
If Reddit has taught me nothing else, it's that my anecdotal evidence is absolutely true.
100% true.
100%.
I mean, that's probably accurate.
Let's see. Titles. AAA World Series 2000. International League Championships, they went to them in 2015. No, not a whole bunch.
Yeah, then they must win their division a bunch.
However, every time they go to the AAA Championship, they win.
Division titles. Okay, yeah, they've won their division a whole bunch.
There you go.
2000, 2006, 2012, 2013, 2015. Yeah, they win their division a whole bunch.
Well, that's good.
So they're kind of the guys to beat in their division, at least.
This has been Baseball Corner.
It sure has. Indiana has a pretty good minor league team and no real team. It's very upsetting.
It is upsetting. I guess the South has the same problem. They've only got the Braves.
Yeah.
Same thing in football. They've only got Falcons.
Yeah, no, I know. No, they got the Saints.
Yeah, they've got the Saints. And the Florida teams, I guess.
They're not really the South, though.
No, they're not.
Come on.
But people like to say they are.
I guess. I started poking at Overwatch again.
Oh, you did?
Well, like, as in today.
Yeah.
Doomfist is very interesting. I like him a lot.
We haven't played in probably a week and a half.
Yeah, see, I figured out I haven't played in like 3 months, so I'm pretty rusty. But Doomfist is very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh?
Yeah, he's
classified as attack, right?
Yeah, he's squishy. He's really good. He's good at disruption. So far, from my first impressions have been, he's really good at disruption in groups, but he's not very good one-on-one with a lot of characters. But like if his team is nearby, he can really get in there and cause havoc.
Huh.
And if you're good at disengaging, he can stay alive for really long streaks. But he's a little. You have to use his main. What's the phrase that they use? You have to use his engage to retreat as well. So
interesting. Is that the rocket punch, or is that something else?
Yeah, that's the rocket punch. But his cooldowns are all really short, so he can really get in there and brawl and get out.
I don't know how I feel about him vanishing when he does his ult.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But it's pretty easy to avoid, honestly.
Is it?
Because he'll vanish while he's setting it up, and then once you decide where to land, a big circle appears on the ground for both teams, so you know where it's gonna be. Just not where he's looking while he's looking for a place to land. But once you've committed, both teams know where it's gonna go. It's easy to accidentally overextend with him because he's so squishy.
Well, I mean, anybody that plays attacker usually overextends, so
I mean that's true.
There's not a whole lot of difference there.
Yeah.
Like,
tell me about it.
Dead offense. What a shock.
So far, my KD ratio with him's pretty bad, but it's easy to get lots of medals with him because you can get a lot of good kills in. Because he's good in brawls, so he's good with big. He can always like hurt people in groups, so that's pretty good.
Interesting. May have to play that after this.
Well, please don't steal Doomfist as well.
Dude, I'm not really interested in Doomfist, honestly.
Don't steal all the characters I play.
I don't really want to play Doomfist.
So you say that, and you said you didn't want to play Diva either, and look at where we're at.
I'm perfectly fine being a amazing diva. I'm content with life.
No, I know, but that doesn't change the initial fact.
That I stole it?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, well, you didn't play forever, so I took it. Someone had to keep the mantle going.
I'm not quite sure that's how that works.
I think it is.
I stopped playing because you were playing Diva.
Oh, is that it? I see.
Yeah, basically.
Pin it all on me. I mean,
yeah.
Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah, okay.
Hey, let's play together. Okay, I'm going to use the person you like to play. Oh, okay.
I kept saying I would play Mercy if you wanted.
Yeah, well. I don't want your pity, Mercy.
Okay. Speaking of bugging you.
He's real crazy. Oh, see, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll allow it.
You're welcome. So if you haven't been keeping up with every single episode so far, all this season we're doing the one-off shows that we think are really interesting. And this week we are doing the Mushi-shi OVA.
Yes.
Which aired... Where does it come in?
That's an excellent question.
Sequence of things?
It's after it was basically put out as a teaser for the second season, because the first season of Mushishi was done forever ago, like 2005. But then they came out with a new Mushi-shi show just a couple years ago. It looks like 2014. And this OVA was done as sort of a promo for that season to sort of remind people, hey, Mushi-shi exists and it's still one of the best manga ever and has sold lots and lots of copies. So we're coming out with more episodes.
Hooray!
Which are basically just chapters pulled straight from the manga. So
Of course.
it was hard for me watching the second season because between season 1 and season 2, I'd read all the manga that a friend had lent me. So it was hard to remember if these episodes were like repeats or if I just saw it in the manga.
How much manga is there? A lot? Some?
No, not a whole lot. They get through just about all the stories in these 2 seasons. Mushishi manga. It's very hard to find now because it's out of print, and some of those original volumes can go for a lot. 10 volumes put out by Del Rey. They can be hard to track down.
I bet.
Yeah. So the mushi that they use for mushi is basically the kanji for bug 3 times over.
Yeah.
But the one for the second shi, I think, is an archaic doctor, but I'm not positive.
I'm trying to look it up, but apparently JDict is not going to work.
Yeah, teacher or master. So yes, specialist. It's a suffix for specialist. So yes, a mushi specialist. The same that's in Shiden for army division.
This 3 bugs thing sort of reminds me of the fun thing about the woman radical. You have 1, it's woman. You have 2, I think it's gossip. And when you have 3, like in this Mushi thing, it's trouble.
Yeah, Three's company.
Up to no good.
Yeah, because I doubt this kanji even has a definition. The super mushi kanji.
List of Mushishi episodes and see how far I got.
So this triple mushi thing is pretty much only used in Mushishi, and it's also part of things for glamour. Not like high fashion glamour, but like elven enchantment glamour.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
Like fascinating or glamour. I don't know. But it's the only other thing it's really used in. And it's just partial. It's a partial radical. It has an extra thing at the bottom. So it's the triple mushi and then an extra guy down there. A little hat. I couldn't tell you what that radical is, but I mean, here you go. It does also add Mushishi as a definition for it because it's the only other place it's used. Yeah, it's just the triple bug.
Well, isn't that interesting? Huh.
But yeah, the only other place it really shows up in official Japanese is as an irregular kanji for like an enchanting glamour.
So I looked up how many episodes I think I watched, and I'm pretty sure I watched about 5 of the first season. And
okay, fair enough.
I don't think I dropped it because I didn't like it. I think it was more same thing with Aria. It's just like, this is very atmospheric. It's very, I don't want to say boring. That's not the right word. It's very calm.
Yeah.
Calm is a good word.
That's fair. It's written by a woman, which is also kind of interesting.
Huh.
Occult detective is its genre, I guess.
So what do people need to know about this episode in case they want to go watch it? Like, do they need to know who the main character is? Do they need to know anything?
I mean, it's kind of hard to know. All you really need to know is what it tells you in the preamble, which is at the preamble of every episode of the show anyway.
I guess that's true.
I think it's pretty good at being self-contained. There's lots of Easter eggs if you've seen all of the first season, because there's a couple characters that you would recognize, and during one certain sequence, there's a whole bunch. It basically flashes back to a bunch of characters that the titular Mushishi Ginko has solved problems of in the past. But I mean, if you don't know who they are, it doesn't really matter.
That's neat.
They're more Easter eggy. As long as you know that like Ginko is a Mushishi, who is a guy that fixes problems with Mushi, then you're good.
I mean, he's on the cover, so...
Yeah. And the beginning of the show, of this episode itself, pretty much gives you the rundown what Mushi are, which are they're kind of like, they're halfway between a bacteria, a virus, and a kami. They're kind of a mix between those. They're a super low life form that just are sort of busy living their life, but they have a nasty tendency to cause slightly supernatural problems.
As you do.
And the whole series takes place in sort of an alternate Edo period.
Yeah. I guess the perennial question has always been, though, is he from that period? Because he's wearing very, Meiji era stuff.
He is kind of, but yeah. No, he is. There is one episode in the second season, which is cribbed from one of the last chapters of the manga, where you get a slight amount of his backstory.
Oh.
A fish ate his eye.
Oh.
Spoilers.
Okay.
One of the big things is, like, Ginko doesn't know much about his past. Like, why he looks weird. Why he seems to only have one eye.
I guess apparently a fish ate it.
Yeah,
one
well,
time.
it was a magic mushi fish, but yeah.
Of course. What else would it be?
But
A normal fish
exactly.
eating an eye? That's just weird.
No. That's also why he smokes. The cigarette he smokes is a special herb that keeps mushi away. Because if he stays in one place too long, mushi like to show up all around him.
I was going to ask you about that.
And it causes problems.
Never seems to be lit, though.
Oh, well, I mean, that's true. Just smokes. Smolders.
So, yeah, I guess if the spoilers just then weren't enough of a warning. Spoilers.
There aren't many. You can't really spoil Mushishi. I could spoil this episode of Mushishi, but that's it.
Spoilers for this episode, obviously.
I mean, I guess the only overarching problem, the thing you could spoil in Mushishi is there's a problem with Mushi. Ginko shows up, and it's mostly solved? Question mark.
Generally, I think.
Emphasis usually on the mostly, because all of the stories are pretty bittersweet, and rarely does everything get fixed 100%. It's a very man versus nature sort of story, with nature never being able to be completely beaten, because, you know, you do have to kind of live with it.
That is normal Japanese folktales, basically.
Don't poke nature in the eye, and it'll mostly leave you alone. But every once in a while, it'll poke you in the eye without knowing it's poking you in the eye, and you should really have to just deal with it.
Yeah, you need to respect it, or it will not respect you. Sometimes it doesn't respect you anyway. You just gotta live with it.
Yeah, it's basically the whole idea behind these little mushi. They're just trying to live their best life.
So our episode begins with an explanation of what Mushis is. Like you said, they're sort of plant, animal somethings, but not really.
Yeah,
but they're
like
more
weird,
spirity.
virusy, kami, fiercey things. Oh, and most people cannot see them.
Yes.
That's a pretty decent point too. Most people can't see mushi.
Now, can Ginko see them?
Yes, no, yeah,
Okay,
of course.
Just checking.
Yeah,
It's important.
yeah, he must be able to. That's part of his job, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah, but no, he can see mushi, but very few people can. Everyone can usually see their side effects, but very few people can see them in their actual forms, which are usually like these weird jellyfishy, virusy, organic-looking things.
I'd say they looked a little like plankton, maybe.
Yeah, very plankton,
Something like that.
planktony.
They glow too, so
Yeah, because they're just the lowest form of life.
essentially,
They're almost pure life energy, and they just do weird, wacky stuff.
they don't know no better.
Exactly, they're just trying to live their best life.
So then we get some more information, mostly about how one time people forgot how useful the sun was, and so when it went away, the warmth of shared understanding was lost, along with warmth.
This sounded like it was a poem, so I'm wondering if it is.
It could be.
It was read in a certain cadence.
Well, usually folk tales are told with that kind of cadence, so
Yeah, no,
it goes
just
along with this.
Yeah, it just sounded like poetic Japanese.
So then our episode proper opens with basically this.
Hey, you know what?
This guy.
You know what's awesome about Mushishi?
What's that?
The backgrounds are all amazing.
Yes, I will give you that.
Okay, just making sure that we're all on the same page there.
The backgrounds are amazing. The character designs,
Yeah, you either like them or you don't.
they're pretty
They're
simple.
very simple.
Yeah. But that just means that when a character is important, they stand out quite starkly.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we open up on this house by the beach with a guy with a monocle, which is a little weird in that era, I would think, because glass.
You have enough glasses in Japan around this era, but not a whole lot, that's for sure.
Well, I get the impression that this dude is a doctor, mostly because they call him doctor, these little kids.
Yeah, he is in the show once or twice. He's a regular human doctor. He doesn't mess with Mushi, but he really likes stories of Mushi and really, really wants to see Mushi.
Yeah, I think in one of the episodes I saw, one of the early ones in season 1, I think he was the doctor that was taking care of some little girl.
So I mean, he's a character that if you've seen the show, you would know, but if you haven't, it really doesn't matter. You get enough of sort of what he's about anyway.
Yeah. But he's talking to some kids, talking about how there's going to be an eclipse in about a month.
Well, should we give the actual title of the episode?
Should we? Does that?
The Shadow That Devours the Sun.
Oh, I wonder what could happen.
There's a shadow that devours the sun.
Is it an eclipse?
Well, one's a regular eclipse, and the other one is a horrible, evil microbe eclipse. But yeah,
Well, sometimes that happens.
as you do.
As you do. Yeah, he's talking about how there's an eclipse, and he's really interested in the eclipse, not just because it's a astronomical event, but he's pretty sure that even during an eclipse, people that can't see Mushis can see Mushis, and he is super excited about that.
Yeah, because he really wants to see Mushi.
Apparently, that is his life's goal.
Yeah, well. But he is buddies with Ginko. He knows the Mushishi Ginko, and that's who he's gotten all of his information from about the eclipse.
Well, then we cut to a very dank, dark basement. And there's a lady that lives in here. And she knows things, I guess.
Yeah, she knows things about Mushi. She's another character from the show if you know it, but if you don't, again, she's a lady that knows things about Mushi.
Yeah, she shows up here, she shows up at the end, and that's about it.
Yep.
Who's this old lady? Because there's an old lady brings her some scrolls, I guess.
She's just a housekeeper. She's part of the clan that this woman's from.
Of these two characters that seem to be from the show proper, that aren't really part of this plot, I feel like this lady down in this basement, she's probably the more interesting of the two.
I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. The other one's slight comic relief. She's
is she like a main-ish character, maybe?
As main as you can get in the show. Her deal is she has to write down stories about Mushi. She has a really bad Mushi in her foot, that the only way to sort of get rid of it is to write about Mushi.
Interesting.
Well, technically, she's not the only person to have had this Mushi. It started with a baby who was born completely ink black, and through the generations, as they all write down and record stories about the Mushi, the Mushi gets weaker and weaker, as it basically drains from their body and into the ink on their scrolls. Mushi are weird, yo.
Yes, they are.
So she has a crippled foot because that's the part of her that still has the ink Mushi in it.
All right.
But if when she has a kid, hopefully that kid will have less
Mushi to deal with.
Less Mushi, yeah. It's been going on for a while. But she's going over the symptoms of what happens during the eclipse that are Mushi-related problems that come with eclipses.
And how to deal with them.
Sometimes you get a pillar of light Mushi that spring up from the ground, and, watch out for that. They tend to go away on their own, but if not, you should really get somebody there to shoo them all off. So,
I'm just imagining Ginko running around with like a sheet going, shoo, shoo.
Hey, shoo, get out of here. And then, sometimes an eclipse makes people frightened of the sun.
For a bit.
So,
yeah.
Watch out for that, too. That'll happen. Again, Mushi are weird, yo. They just do weird stuff.
And then sometimes people just sort of disappear.
Yeah, watch out for that one a lot.
They'll disappear. Sometimes they'll come back. Other times they don't,
Sometimes they come back and can only be seen by people who can see Mushi. So, that happens too. Be on the lookout.
I do like how some of these people, like, they're frightened of the sun because Mushi, and they need to be cured with basically medicinal herbs.
Yeah, usually. That's usually the problem with Mushi is you just gotta figure out what it is, and then you can treat it with herbs or with some very minor ritual.
Now,
they're more a weird medical inconvenience than anything. Yeah.
So we've got these spirits running around, right? And we've got this guy roaming around that's also curing people of these spirit things.
Yep.
And he's an apothecary.
Yeah, it's very similar to Mononoke, isn't it?
Is this
very
like
Mononoke-ish.
a theme in Japanese media, maybe?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's just sort of folk life, though, right?
I suppose so.
Like, these things actually existed at one point. You had traveling apothecaries and you had traveling priests that, came around and made sure that the demons don't get in your house.
Or in your eyes.
Yeah, don't do that. It's bad.
Because sometimes they'll get in your eyes and you can't sleep.
Yeah.
This may be...
shines like the sun.
Maybe Mushi, but it may also be because you stared at the sun during an eclipse.
Because you stare at the freaking sun, you idiot. There's the special Mushi that if you stare at the sun long enough, you go blind. There's no cure.
Well, maybe they're curious. Like a cat.
Yeah.
Their friends call them Whiskers.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know.
That happens... Oh, that anomaly can be caused by a Mushi that has a name.
I like Mushi names because they're actually very interesting, and they pretty much tell you exactly what they do, and they're like cool, archaic kanji combinations.
Well, this particular one that causes blindness when you stare at the sun is called Shirayami.
Which I'm sure means something. Something light.
Yes.
Whatever Shira is.
Shira.
If I just look that up in Google, it goes to a Naruto character, so I hate my life. Let's go to good old gshow.org. This is going to be way better. White. Yeah, so white light. That makes sense.
Yeah, Mushi.
Yeah, of course. Shiro. Yeah, no, of course.
This can only be cured by... Oh, apparently can be cured by another Mushi. So if you have another Mushi, it can cure blindness for staring at the sun for too long. If you have one Mushi,
you can have another Mushi. Oh, but it's only the special Eclipse sun where you'll get the bad Mushi.
Yeah.
If you stare at the regular sun, you just go normal blind. If you stare at an Eclipse sun, you go magic blind. Very important.
And yeah, then we get the people that do vanish during the eclipse. They just sort of...
And sometimes they reappear, but always at elevated areas.
Yeah, I didn't catch that the first time. That's...
Mushi are weird, man. They just do weird stuff.
Kind of like that fungus that makes ants like go up on tops of blades of grass and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's creepy.
Brain fungus.
I think Mushi are most similar to funguses. That's pretty accurate. They're very similar to fungus, because fungus is halfway between a plant and an animal and is very primitive.
But yeah, the way to cure these folks that are up on mountains or whatever is take them home, treat them nicely.
Yep, and they'll probably go back.
They'll probably stay with you, although some of them just sort of wander back in the mountains and you never see them again.
You know, you see this.
This happens occasionally.
The world of Mushishi is both one I really want to live in and one that is terrifying.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's typical culture that lives right next to or within nature. It's like all this bad crap happens. It must be spirits, because why else would this weird stuff happen all the time? Why else would people just get up in the middle of the night and wander off into the forest never to be seen again? It must be a Mushi.
Or it could be Gerald Ford being eaten by wolves.
I mean, that does happen. And
I mean, he was delicious. I mean,
let's not kid ourselves.
Can you really blame the wolves?
No, of course not.
He's a former ex-president. Of course he's delicious. All right, back to the point at hand.
Back to this basement. So does she have like a thing where she can't go outside?
I mean, no, she can. She just has the bad foot.
Ah, okay.
But it's her job. Basically, this woman's job. She's kind of all the different Mushishi. Give her information. She's a big sharer. She's Wikipedia for Mushi, basically. Ah. She has records of Mushi and she disseminates them out to other Mushishi as they come back to tell their stories to her so they can be written down.
So she's both Wikipedia and like a 911 dispatcher?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Well, not really a dispatcher. Just like if you need to know what sort of Mushi you're dealing with, she's the one to ask.
Ah, I see.
She doesn't. People don't come to her and are like, "Hey, I got Mushi problems." They deal with Mushi. They deal with Mushishi because I mean, what are they going to do? Leave their village and travel for a long time? That's a number one way to get Mushi.
I guess that would be the case. Yes.
Woods are bad and scary. Do not go in them.
She does have a strong suspicion that something bad's going to happen this eclipse. Now, she's not for sure, but maybe this thing called a Hihami is going to cause problems, cause issues.
So maybe we should make preparations to, fix that if that happens.
Maybe.
As you do. Because this one's particularly nasty. It's a nasty little bugger.
So the reason I ask about this lady not being able to go outside is because the housekeeper seems very intent on like not letting her go out into the light, etc. And she's like, but I want to look at it for myself for once.
Oh, no, she wouldn't.
No, you better get your butt back downstairs.
Well, that's because... Well, I mean, she's heavily influenced of the Mushi world, and she has a Mushi in her. And during the eclipse, Mushi go nuts. So it's probably not wise if you're a person who attracts Mushi like crazy, and you're very important to the Mushishi world, to stay out when all the Mushi are going to go bonkers.
Are you saying she would have like restless leg syndrome or something?
Or something, heaven only knows.
She'd just go be
Mushi are weird.
She could dissolve. She'd start this Irish jig right off of a cliff.
Or she could just like turn into a fine mist. Mushi are weird and they do weird stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
A mountain could wake up and just decide to eat her. I mean, they're not beyond the realm of possibility here.
Yeah. So then the eclipse happens. I know we've been building up to this grand event, but the eclipse does happen right here at the beginning of the episode. All these kids out with that one doctor are like, hey,
who did get a big care package from Ginko of like all these sorts of medicine and stuff, but Ginko himself did not show up to this doctor, and he's pretty miffed about that.
He's miffed about that, and all the kids can see the Mushis now. And they're all like flittering around and doing as they do.
Doing their, living their lives.
But the poor doctor can't see anything.
Can't see a single one. Poor guy.
And then we cut around to a bunch of people. And I assume that these are the people from all the
these are the
eps.
Easter eggs. Like, if you know who they are, they've all people that Ginko has helped in episodes of season 1.
Ah, I see.
But if you don't know who they are, all you need to know is the eclipse is happening. I mean, that's the major takeaway from the scene.
Yep. Eclipse happens. It gets dark. Some people are terrified, others are not.
Yep, and everything seems fine. So it's an awfully good thing that nothing bad happened. Episode over.
Yep.
Nothing bad happened.
The end. Just like Aria.
The end. Yeah, that would be an Aria episode. Man, I sure hope nothing bad happens. Later, nothing bad happened. End of episode.
Hooray.
Also, they piloted some boats on Mars.
The doctor does say something foreshadowing, although what he should have done was knock on wood here, because he's like, oh yeah, also, you guys should be really grateful that the light comes back after the eclipse, because without the sun, we'd all be dead.
I mean, it's true.
Right? Good thing.
It would be.
Good thing the eclipse is going to be over.
Yep. And, well, it is
There
over.
it is.
For them.
The end. And then other stuff happens. Because Ginko shows up, and uh-oh.
Well, Ginko's at another town. He's not the same town with these kids.
Well, he makes an appearance in the show. The eclipse is over, and everyone's still sort of looking at the sun, although now they're just going to get normal blind instead of Mushi blind.
Yeah, instead of magic Mushi blind, they're back to the part where you can get real life blind.
Right.
Don't look at eclipses unless you buy the special glasses.
But apparently clouds are gathering right in front of the sun, which is bad because they're not really clouds per se.
Yeah. It's a giant swarm of mushi that are creating a giant shadow blocking the sun from reaching the ground, but only in this very specific area. The area that Ginko has been dispatched to watch over and make sure that shit like this doesn't happen.
And then it happens anyway.
And then it happens. Well, not so much to make sure this doesn't happen, but if it should happen, he's smart enough to fix it.
Hopefully.
Because we do cut back to Miss Tanyu, and she's like, okay, I've heard back from all the other Mushishi, and nothing bad happened where I sent them, so that's good. Hope everything's okay with Ginko. Spoilers.
Nothing's ever good with Ginko.
Nothing's ever good with Ginko. He's here to fix your problems.
Or cause them, depending on your outlook of life.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, if he shows up, something bad's going to happen, so... But essentially, he explains to the villagers who are gathered around going, okay, you seem like you know what you're talking about because you have white hair and a cigarette and a bitchin' coat. What's going on up yonder? And he's basically like, well...
Here's the deal. Mushi are weird, yo.
At the center of this cloud, there's this weird Mushi that, like, its core is up there. And it only comes out during eclipses, and then when it's up there, it doesn't like the sun, so it calls all the other Mushis up to basically act as an umbrella.
To block the sun so it can hang out.
Yeah.
But the thing that you really want to do in order to get rid of it is not go up to the sun to fix the core, but no, it's got some weird magic root thing somewhere that we gotta dig up, expose the sun, and then it'll die, and everything will go back to normal. Because, you know, that's how you cure weird special magic diseases that blight the sun.
I mean, it's essentially the plot to Touhou 6, so...
Is it? I mean, that does sound like a plot to Touhou 6.
I mean...
Or a Touhou.
The sun gets blocked by a weird mist. All because a little girl vampire wanted to go outside and play during the daytime.
Yeah, it kind of is. And this is kind of like a bullet hell because of all those Mushi. There's a whole bunch of them.
There are.
So, you know.
Same thing. Confirmed.
So Ginko just needs to, like... grow little magic wings and just start shooting all of these little mushi.
Oh, food is everywhere?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Well, he does say that, okay, yeah, there's this root. It's somewhere around. The best way to find it is it's in the dark area, and it's something that's different than before.
Thanks.
Cool.
Let's go find it and dig it up. Let's go dig up this weird thing that's somewhere different.
Yes.
The villagers are rightly and correctly confused by this.
And annoyed.
Yeah, they're like, so we gotta find something that's different and then dig it up. That's easy, I guess.
So there's like,
Thanks.
what, 20 square miles here, and there's like a dozen of us? 24 of us, maybe? Yeah, we'll get on that.
Thanks. But to their credit, they do try.
They do try.
But it's hard to play spot the differences over, 20, 30 square miles of rugged mountain Japan terrain.
Exactly. Like rice paddies, mountains, forest. That's it.
Mushi.
And Mushi. Well, most of the Mushi are in the sky.
Most of Mushi are up above. So that, good news, bad news.
Yeah. Ginko goes home for the night because no one's found anything, obviously. And he gets a note from Tanyu, the chick from before. I am interested in knowing how he got this note because he pries it out of a thing.
Let me tell you. There's actually a special Mushi that does this.
Oh, Lord, of course there is.
All right, dude. So it's featured in an episode. So it's this special kind of Mushi that sort of can burrow through time and space, but only if it stays in its little dark cocoon. It's kind of like a weird quantum entanglement thing. So if Tanyu has a whole bunch of cocoons and each Mushishi has a little cocoon, and if you give it a scroll, the little Mushi inside will burrow through time and space to its other cocoon over at Tanyu's, and you can pass messages back and forth.
Of course.
Mushi are weird. It's one of those things where it's like, we're not sure why it does this, but it does this, and it's awfully convenient for us, so we might as well do it.
Yeah.
So it's just weird quantum entangled Mushi pair.
Fair enough.
So, they're in an episode at some point, and they explain how it works, and it's about like that. It's kind of dumb, but
Plot convenient, though.
It sure is. When you don't have telephone or anything.
Well, essentially, this note is like, hey, so I sent a bunch of Mushishis out, basically, sent them all information about this Hihami thing. Heard back from all of them. Everything's cool. Hope things are cool with you, too, bro.
How are things with you? Things are bad.
He's like,
We got ourselves a sun blight.
He's just basically like, oh, I guess your hunch was right. Crap.
Yeah.
Oops. So yeah, everyone was pretty sure that even though this Mushi thing was happening, that it would at least be over by morning. But
they're not.
It isn't.
They're hashtag normies. What do they know?
They don't.
They think this Mushi is just this Mushishi guy is just some crazy bonkers go nuts dude.
He dresses like one from their perspective.
Yeah. So what's he know? Turns out he knows your hashtag Mushi problems.
He overhears the villagers over the course of several days that are basically like, yeah, this is stupid. We've looked everywhere. We can't find anything. Why don't you just tell us what the heck the route looks like so we can just go find it and be done with this? And he's like, oh, yeah, actually, it changes appearance every time. So there's that.
Every time we've had a recorded appearance of it, it's looked different. So,
watch out for that
too. Mushi are dumb and stupid. This is why it takes very specific people to figure out all these problems, because they're dumb.
But yeah, essentially all their crops are starting to fail because it's been many days since the sun last shone on this particular area, and it's only getting worse.
It's hard to find a place that feels vaguely different.
And while he's wandering around, he finally meets somebody else. Somebody with more facial features than everybody else.
Yeah.
In that they have freckles.
Hashtag main character.
Now, I'll admit, so before this girl showed up, and I didn't know who the girl living in the basement was. And based on the fact that, Mushi, they did say sometimes Mushi inhabit people and possess people.
Yeah, that's true.
And they said that the root, the core goes up, sun gets umbrella. The root stays below ground, doesn't go outside.
Oh, down. You thought that she might be the root?
I thought Tanyu was the root.
Oh, sure.
Initially, because she was also warned, don't go outside. So well, clearly she's the root. But then this girl shows up. She's albino. And she can't go outside either. I'm like, aha.
Yep.
She's the root.
Well, see, funny you should say that, because there's an episode of Mushishi where that does happen, and it's very sad. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I don't put that kind of thing past this show. Which is why I figured.
You shouldn't, because it's done it before.
Yeah, plus, Ginko's reaction was, oh, this looks interesting.
Can't be good. Let's go poke this Satan and see what pops out.
Yeah, apparently there's these two girls living in a house. They're essentially identical twins, except one is normal Japanese black hair, something of a hime cut, but not really.
Yep. And the other's albino. She is very excited about Ginko being there. She's like, "Oh, you look like me. Why are you like me?" And he's like, "Nah."
I think we should point out she's very excited about being outside.
Yeah, she's also very excited to go outside during the daytime.
Yeah. She's all about whatever is going on right now. But she's like, whoa, you're just like me, except you have green eyes instead of red eyes. But yeah,
Are you sick like I am? I don't know. I don't know why I look like this, but I'm just fine in the sunlight. I'm fine in sunlight. Why aren't you?
Quit being a vampire.
Yeah, well.
So we get her name.
If only.
So the albino girl's name is Hiyori, which is interesting. Both these girls' names start with he, obviously, because that's Japanese for sun.
And very thematic,
and
of course.
Yori is like shadow. I think you could do it a couple different ways, but shadow is among them. Or night pair. Night, shadow, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, Hiyori's very excited to be outside during the daytime, because normally, I guess, the sun is really bad for her.
Yeah, she has that disease that you're essentially allergic to the sun.
Yes,
it's either
much,
that or the one where you have almost no melanin in your skin, so when you go outside, you instantly get a horrible sunburn, no matter what.
Or it's the one that's caused by some weird mushi.
Or it could be
Guess
a mushi.
which one it is. Guess what it actually is. Some weird mushi thing. It's always some weird mushi thing.
Well, it's very sad because their family, all their stuff in their fields is already dead. And even though Hiyori is extremely excited about going outside, it's like, well, that's cool, but now you have no money and nothing to eat. So, perspectives.
A win-lose situation. But their dad shows up and is like, hey, Hiyori, maybe you should go inside or those marks will show up all over your body. At which point you may be thinking, hey, a sunburn. But no. Ginko's like,
marks, you say.
Mark? Like gross black spots.
Well, I like how he does it because, he's got that cigarette thing. And he feels like, marks, you say, removes it. Tell me more.
Please tell me more about these marks. Are they black like spots?
It is a little weird. He does show up to this random stranger's house. The father, I assume, hasn't really seen him yet. And he's like, tell me more about the marks on your daughter's skin.
Yeah. Well, he is like, oh, so you're the Mushishi that the elder summoned. Well, all right.
It's like, oh, yeah, I guess you have medicine.
This is kind of his MO, though. He wanders around and is like, oh, you got some weird, horrible thing that you hate. Please tell me more. Oh, you have a girl living in a shed that can't come out and see the light? Please tell me why.
This is relevant to my interests.
Your children are blind and have no feet? I can probably fix that. Maybe. It's probably some dumb Mushi problem. I'll fix it in some bittersweet way.
Well, the father is like, well, you're a Mushishi, so you can cure my kids, right? Right? That's your job, right? He's like,
We'll find out.
Maybe.
Mushi, you're weird, yo. We've yet to find a treatment for what caused your daughter to go all albino, but, might be able to fix it eventually, sometime, maybe.
So later that night, Ginko and the father are talking. Does the father ever get a name? I don't think he does.
I don't think so.
Well, the father basically gives Ginko the lowdown on how the daughters came to be black hair, white hair.
Yeah.
Essentially, one evening while he and his pregnant wife were walking through the woods, suddenly there was a lunar eclipse, except it doesn't look like a lunar eclipse. It looks like the one that's going on outside.
Yeah. Super Groat Mushi cover up the light of the moon.
And then almost immediately, pregnant woman faints.
As you do. I remember finding it strangely ominous. Yeah, I would too if it wasn't like a nice perfect circle covering up the moon, but some weird, gross black corruption.
Yeah, black corruption is eating up the moon. My wife faints. I'm like, huh. Well, that's weird.
That can't be good. I stand against this.
But she's like, yeah, I felt faint. And then later the two girls are born. One had white hair and red eyes. The other one just had normal black hair and brown eyes. But then wife died after childbirth, never recovered, which is really sad. Yep. They even show the corpse. Yeah. Like, whoa, it got dark real quick.
Yeah, that's Mushishi for you.
Well, then as the husband is paying respects to his dead wife at the grave, he's got the white-haired girl on a papoose on his back who will not stop crying because, holy crap, black sunburn all over her face.
That cannot be good. Nope. She gets a high fever, but as long as she stays inside, the marks go away and she's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if she goes out in the sun, guess what? Horrible black marks show back up.
Happens all the time. So basically, she is locked in her room and has to stay there.
Ginko's like, oh, well, there you go. That lunar eclipse was probably not a real lunar eclipse. No,
Good call. I'll
Good
give him
call.
props for that one.
And instead of a hiyami, this is probably a skiyami.
What a shock.
So it's basically the same thing. Instead of a sun devourer, this is a moon devourer. And guess what? Just like these things, if you're outside when this dumb stuff happens, something dumb's gonna happen to you.
Well, in this case, apparently, when the wife was walking along, Mushi happened, but the Hiyori was basically in front within the womb, and she got all of it. And her sister, who was behind her, basically was shielded, so she's fine.
Yep, good for her.
Because Mushis are jerks.
She protected her sister. Yeah, Mushi are jerks. Well, they're not jerks. They're just trying to live their life.
Of course, just, as viruses do.
Exactly. They're just doing their best.
But Ginko's like, yeah, this is totally a thing. It's totally Mushis. Mushis happen all the time.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Can't fix this one, though. So, sorry. No known cure.
No known cure. Maybe Eclipse. We fix that. They go away. Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Or at least we learned something that could fix her. Maybe.
I guess we'll try
Perhaps.
something. It'd be cool.
Well, we'll see. Not making any promises here.
Well, outside the room, both the girls have been very naughty and been eavesdropping on their conversation. And when, have we mentioned the other girl's name yet?
I don't think so.
Well, when Hinata, which is the black hair girl, when Hinata learns that,
Wait, doesn't she marry Naruto?
when she learns that her sister basically saved her from a horrible fate, she's like, whoa, Hiyori, turns out you saved me. Thanks.
Thank you.
And Hiyori's like, holy crap, this sucks.
Life's not fair.
Life is not fair. I'm going to go lock myself
Her
in my
life
room
really
now.
isn't fair. Yeah. How old would you put these kids? Like maybe 8 to 10?
Yeah, about 10, I think.
Yeah.
9 or 10. Old enough to understand that the world sucks, but maybe not old enough to realize that life isn't fair yet.
But not, yeah, not old enough to get over it.
Yes,
Old enough to see the problem, but not old enough to be like, well,
that happens sometimes.
such is the world we live in.
So she goes back to her room and basically reminisces over her entire childhood. We get like her whole backstory.
Yeah, we also get some really good shots of her stuff, such as creepy dolls, kendama, books.
She has all these things. But she is very upset from every single age that her sister is able to go outside and she isn't. And her father's like, yeah, but you've got all this stuff. You have everything you want right here. She's like, screw that. I want to go outside.
Yeah, but we don't have like grass and cows and the out of doors.
Sun. That was nice.
There's no outdoors inside.
Well, her sister's very nice, as she actually brings the outside inside.
Yep, she brings a whole bunch of flowers and butterflies, and she scatters them all around the room.
And if Hiyori did not have allergies before, she does now.
Yeah.
But
Man,
importantly,
wouldn't that be like terrible?
Hinata mentions, hey, by the way, I found this place full of like these glowing flowers. It's really cool. We should check that out.
We can check that out next time the sun's not out.
Yeah.
Because as long as the sun's not out, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it'll be fine.
Right.
Totally.
Spoiler, she is not right.
I am kind of curious why she can't go play at night.
She can.
She can?
Yeah, you do learn that. Like when you first see her in this whole show, she's like, "Oh, I can actually go out during the day. Normally, I can only go out at night."
Because I thought it was
But, like,
a little odd. Like,
at-
if you have one child that she can only go out at night, and you have another child who's not of working age, which is important, why not just let them play at night? And then everyone's happy, I guess.
Because it's medieval Japan, and you got to watch out for like wolves and bandits and wild boar and
I guess so.
all this, that, and the other thing.
And Mushis.
And Mushi.
Night
Yeah,
Mushis.
don't forget the Mushi problems. Mushis are more active at night. Watch out for that.
Well, so the two girls conspire to go running out to this field of flowers when it's overcast.
Yeah, because that'll fix the problems. They'll be fine.
But as you know, if you go to the beach when it's overcast, you still get a sunburn.
And this happens to poor Hiyori.
She gets a Mushi burn. Right on the old face. Again.
Yep, halfway up the mountain. And Hinata has to carry her all the way back down.
Well, Hinata's really torn up that she accidentally got her sister's face all blackened again.
I mean, as you would.
Basically,
She feels as bad as somebody would feel bad if they were like throwing a ball and they hit a hornet's nest and they caused their younger brother to get stung by a bajillion hornets.
no, because she's crying about that. And I don't think anybody that would do that would actually cry about that. They'd be like, yeah,
I mean,
he shouldn't have been standing on that hornet's nest.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. Is the people in this show are nice and kind to their younger siblings and take pity and mercy on them when they have a problem that was caused by the older sibling.
No, I think that's just
They
weakness.
then take care of the younger sibling.
No, I'm pretty sure that's just weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have watched out for those hornet mushies.
Yeah.
Life's not fair, etc.
I mean, that is true. I hope you fall into a bush with wasps.
Oh, don't worry. I've had yellow jackets in my yard several times.
Have you gotten stung by them a bajillion times?
Oh, yes. Well, maybe not a
Oh,
bajillion,
okay.
but at least a dozen.
Okay, not quite yet.
Someday.
Either way, Hinata gets scolded by dear old dad being like, hey, how about you not tell her stories about the outside? That just makes her feel worse because you can't go out there and it's bad.
Mm-hmm. She sort of takes that in because as her sister's starting to wake up from her delirium, from her fever, she's like, hey, so when I'm better with this, let's actually get back out there to that field of flowers, right?
Maybe when it's nighttime or something.
And Hinata's like,
maybe
oh,
we can go.
Yeah, I seem to have forgotten where that was. How odd. Sorry. She even gives her those eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, I see what's going on here. You traitor.
So we skip forward to what seems like just like last week.
Ish.
It seems like this incident that we're about to get happened in very recent memory.
Hinata's friends come over and are like, hey, Hinata, come outside and play.
She's like, yeah, but I'm playing dolls with my sister, and it's way more fun than you guys. You're boring.
And Hiroi's like, you know you can go with them, right? It's fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Just go play. I'll be fine.
And Hinata's like, no, I have more fun with you, really.
Well, I'll be honest. When she said that, when she initially said that she has more fun with her, like, I don't doubt that, but I do feel like she still wanted to go outside and play with other people too.
Yeah, no,
I don't think she's all like, oh, no, this sucks. I don't want to play with you.
Yeah, no, she's not malicious. Hinata is not malicious, and neither is like Hiyori is like a slightly bratty about this whole situation, but she's also a 10-year-old girl in a really terrible situation where she can never go outside without getting horrible death burns.
Right.
So,
And apparently she can't really share her sister very well. Really, she wants her all to herself. And so...
Does she? I don't get that reading.
I feel like she's being just a selfish 10-year-old girl. She may not think that explicitly, but when her friends come over, like, hey, come play with us, and she's like, no, I'm going to stay here, you get the feeling like Hiyori is trying to guilt her.
I see what you mean. Like,
and be like, no, I want you here playing with me whenever you can. And the moment you think otherwise, I don't want you at all.
I'm not sure about that. I don't get that feel. But I mean,
she's a 10-year-old girl. It's not well thought out.
Well, that's true.
It's very emotion driven.
Yeah, I think it's more the second statement where she just like doesn't want to be pitied, and like I feel like you're pitying me by like choosing not to go outside with those girls and trying to tell me that, oh no, I never want to go outside. You're way more fun.
Well, I get that impression from her next line, which is, okay, I don't want to pity you at all. That's not my intention. What should I do? Like this is also a sucky situation for me because I want my life as well. And basically Hiroi's like, I want you to change places with me. I want your life and you can have mine.
Yeah. And that's definitely like just like little kid logic.
Yeah, that's little kid selfishness.
Where it's like they're not trying to be like mean and nasty, but like at the same time it's like, yeah, that she's just being brutally honest about, yes, I would like to be outside with you.
And since I can't, and since you can't even acquiesce to the one demand I have, which I think is pretty reasonable, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
then you can just leave.
Yeah.
Because life's not fair. And having you around reminds me of that. So, they have a falling out, essentially. And Hinata, while she's trying to be nice, Hiyori will have none of it. So then we come back to the present time, and Ginko's explaining to Hiyori what's going on. Like, look, so A, you got a Mushi. B, don't know how to fix it. C, Eclipse is caused by Mushi, so connected?
Maybe.
But she has a typical 10-year-old girl reaction, which is, yeah, but you don't know how to fix it, do you? So
I do like this shot right before that, where, like, after they're falling out, Hinata brings, like, food to Hiyori, her dinner, and, like, you just, instead of, like, Hiyori glaring at the door, you get this shot of her, like, lowering one of her dolls, and the doll just has, like, the most, like, glary, sour face you've ever seen. It's really good.
Aw.
It's just it's a good shot. It's a good way of expressing those feelings without just showing her face.
Very sourpuss.
You can't feel even more alienating.
So Hiyori drops the bomb that I overheard everything you said earlier.
Yeah.
And her dad's like, yeah, well, if you heard all that, which is sort of jerk-like, but okay, I'll overlook that. You'll know that, maybe if we solve the Eclipse thing, maybe your thing will get fixed too. Who knows? Might as well try it, right?
We'll have to find it and try. We hope.
And then Hiyori, just like a little vampire girl, runs outside with an umbrella.
Yeah.
Because she's going to take advantage of the fact that the sun isn't affecting her, and she's going to go run into a shrine maiden and get shredded by Ofuda.
Well, one hopes not. But yes, she's going to go outside because Ginko and her dad have both gone to go look for the root again. So she's pretty happy by this whole thing. The Eclipse may suck for everybody else, but it's awesome for her. So
she has a day of it.
Deal with it. Deal with it, normies.
So we do learn that she hasn't really ever played in a creek before. She's never seen whatever bird that is. She doesn't get a lot of...
It's a kingfisher.
Is it a kingfisher?
It's a kingfisher. It looks exactly like a kingfisher.
She's never seen a kingfisher before. Basically, obviously, she's never been outside much.
Yeah.
But...
she does see Mushi.
She's like, oh, I wonder what kind of bug this is. It's a weird glowy bug that looks like a jellyfish.
It's 3 bugs. It's a Mushi.
It's like, maybe you shouldn't be touching those.
Well, most Mushi are fine.
Maybe.
If every Mushi was bad, do you think anybody would ever not have problems? But she passes by some workers in the field, and they're looking gloomy. She's like, well, serves them right. Because, that's how I feel when I can't be outside, which is all the time.
Serves everyone else in the world right to suffer, because I myself have suffered some.
To be fair, it's not the whole world. It's just these 30 square miles, which are the entire world that she knows of.
I mean,
but
she doesn't differentiate between the two. She doesn't know.
Yeah. She's at least happy that everybody at least now knows what she feels like.
Which is a typical teenager thing.
It's crummy.
It's like the whole world deserves to feel the same kind of pain I have.
Obviously.
Like, spoilers, lady. Everyone does. Just not exactly the same as you do.
Yeah, but Ben.
Yes?
Ben, no one's really felt like this before.
Yeah, no one has to live in my head. I mean, This is my headache.
This is my problems, and you have never had any problems like my problems.
So anyway, Hiyori's actually trying to find the flower bed that she and Hinata were going to that one time, because now she actually has an opportunity.
Yep.
I do like these little subtle things. Like, she's going up this mountain pass, and she is getting super winded because she never goes outside. So she's super out of shape. And I like how they just sort of threw that in there. It's like they didn't have to. But yeah,
makes it feel more real.
She's sweaty. She's
This is where she remembers that, like, Hinata had to carry her all the way down this horrible mountain trail that I'm going up right now. That probably sucked.
Yeah, the whole way back. And just walking up here by myself, not in a hurry, because I think my sister's dying. I'm pretty winded and sweaty.
And whoops, fell down a cliff.
Oops, that happens.
And then the show gets really dark because then one of the girls dies. Okay, it doesn't get quite that dark.
No, because
I mean, it is dark outside because the sun's not out.
And it's dark down here because, well, sort of dark down here. She lands in a flower bed of flowers that glow. She's found it. Now, can we pause here for a second and talk about how amazing the sound design is for this show?
Oh, yeah, no, Mushishi's sound design's really good.
It's all very subtle. And having done the production for this podcast for so long, I am amazed at how good this sound production is.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Because like one of the big things about Mushishi, the show, is whenever the Mushi show up, it gives you they're very auditory as well. They do lots of crystals and chimes for the sound effects for the Mushi being around.
Yeah, I like that. But at least in this particular OVA, since there aren't really a whole lot of Mushi proper around, I mean, they're all up in the sky. You can't hear them. Before the eclipse happens, there's a lot of background noise. You know, you got those waves crashing. You got the cicadas going. You got all the birds chirping.
来月の今日日食が起こるらしくてな。
何それ?
おテントさんが月の影に隠れるんだ。
But as soon as the eclipse happens, everything just becomes this muffled, flat, dead silence. And when people talk, there's no sense of space. It feels very confined, very oppressive.
もう何日になる。どこにも変わりなんてありゃしねえじゃねえか。
もうたくさんだよ。
おいあんた、その根ってのがどんなもんか言ってみろ。
Same thing here in this field. Like, there's almost no sense of this is a big space. I mean, this field, because of the nature of what this field represents, it's a little more open feeling, auditory-wise. But, like, all the gloomy peasants, whenever they speak, it's like you're trapped in a big, stuffy room. Yeah. And it's very, very oppressive.
Well, and Hiyori's voice, even in this meadow, has a bit of, like, reverb in it.
Yeah.
And there's a very chilling sort of underbass that really make it feel
and
otherworldly.
But there's no other sound at all.
Something weird
it's
here.
It's just her.
Yeah.
きれい。何の花かしら? 光ってる.
And then as soon as we cut back to the village, you at least hear some bird call and leaves rustling, where in the field, like, nothing.
Yep.
Just background sound effects, not background sound effects. I guess just background music rather than actual, like, nature sounds.
So yeah, she picks a flower and basically brings it back to the village. And this is where we see some other people in the fields. Just some random workers with a crying child. Even the crying baby sounds like a crying baby. It doesn't sound like someone pretending to be a crying baby. It's like someone actually went out and recorded a crying baby, for real.
Either way, he already passes Ginko on her way back into the village. He's like, oh, so you're out walking around in the eclipse again. Must be nice for you. Hey, look, wait a minute. You got them damn flowers. Those are weird. Where'd you get those?
And she's like, well, I found them. They were pretty, so I got them. That's about it.
It's like, yeah, but they're super out of season. So that means the place where you found them must be different.
That must be where the root is. That means, as Hiyori surmises, if he knows where this root is, he can solve this problem, which means I can't go outside anymore. So where did I find these? You know, I can't really recall. I don't know. Yeah. Somewhere.
I'm not going to tell you. Suck it.
You got to deal with that, sir.
And Ginko's like, hey, now hold on.
Let's pretend like you're not a teenager for a second.
Like, I know that it's nice being outside and all, but if the shadow grows and the darkness spreads, guess what? The land will become terrible. Have you seen The Lion King, Hiyori? Have you? You know, when the hyenas take over and everything's bad, it'll be like that.
I mean, we will have a lot better choice of musical genres. But other than that, he does try to link what's going on up in the sky with what's going on in her life a little bit. I don't know if that's like his intent, but he's sort of drawing a parallel between, you know, the Mushi that's causing all this stuff, it spends its entire life underground until an eclipse happens, which is like almost never, essentially, at least in human terms. And so it spends its entire time in darkness. This once in a while, it sends part of itself up into the light, basically to live, because that's what it does. Does that sound familiar, Hiyori? A little bit?
Yep.
Just a little bit? And he's like, yeah, so you and it are basically the same thing. You're trying to protect yourself from the sun, but at the same time, you need the sun and all that stuff. So you're practically the same thing. But, like, as long as you close yourself off, just like physically in that room that you're live in, then any light that you have is going to be engulfed by darkness. And she just gives him this look that is...
Yeah, if you stay emotionally closed, guess what? You won't be able to enjoy the warm company of a friend.
She does not like that. She gives him a look. It's
She's 10.
yeah. It's the look, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Meanwhile, Hinata's at a creek,
Back
feeling
at
sorry
Stately
for
Wing
herself.
Manor. Yeah, she does that. These poor girls.
She's remembering
Just want to be
the
happy.
she's remembering the thing that she overheard Ginko say, which was one daughter protected the other daughter in the womb, and so
It's like, yeah, the only reason you're a normie is because he already took the bullet for you.
basically,
In utero.
and now she hates
You
you.
know.
So
Doesn't that make you feel even worse about yourself?
what's the point of anything? And Hinata's like, that's a good point, Mushis, that are now crowding around me. What is the point of anything? It'd be a good idea right now.
If I just go to the mountains and vanish forever.
And so she does.
Mushi are weird. Though these Mushi are very pretty. They're like weird multi-tiered jellyfish things.
And they guide her off into the abyss,
They spirit her away.
essentially.
Only this isn't to a fun bathhouse.
This is to death.
Or at least some weird nether space.
It's the mountains.
Where the Mushi feed off of her emotional sadness or something.
That's what they do. Well, her dad comes to Hiyori and he's like, hey, have you seen Hinata anywhere? She's like, no. Why would I? Am I my sister's keeper?
Can I go outside and see her? Ever? No.
Well, obviously not.
Ginko shows up on the scene and is like, so yeah, we should probably go find her, because you know what also happens during eclipses? People get, like, vanished.
Spirited away.
Forever. Except those who can see Mushi, they can see him sometimes. Sometimes people just turn invisible.
And she's like, it'll be fine. And he's like, oh, you can see Mushi's, can't you? She's like, no. Why would I be able to see Mushi's? Why would I be able to see
be
these
fair,
weird glowy things that look
quite-
like jellyfish floating in the air? I mean,
I'm not quite sure she's lying, because, I mean, she doesn't go outside often enough to, like, know.
right.
She may just think those are normal bugs.
I guess.
I mean, think about it. If you've never seen an earthworm before, they're pretty weird and wacky. Hey, look, this tube that wiggles.
That's true.
What's it do? I don't know.
So Dad and Ginko go out to look for Hinata. And while they're gone, Hiyori's looking around the house and is like, oh, wait. She actually is gone. Oops. I should do something about that.
When I say go away forever, I didn't mean actually go away forever.
Yeah, I meant like none of those things. But now it's too late. Now you said it. You can't take it back. So she runs off looking for Hinata and she thinks, oh, wait. I wonder if she's at that flower bed. And turns out she is.
She is. But she's all, hey, you remember the sister cat from last week's episode? Yeah, she's done did that.
Just like that. And so we start this weird, wacky adventure where they go to a circus and, oh, wait.
Yeah, no, okay, no. We don't go that deep. Mushi are weird, but they're not that weird. Though I wouldn't put it past this show to have a weird, crazy rain chicken.
There could be a rain chicken. Although maybe not a man with scissors.
But as she's running through, she overhears like one of the farmers being like, "Man, sure did take the sun for granted.
I mean,
I thought it'd always rise." It's like, to be fair, that's a fairly reasonable expectation.
it has happened quite often.
In the vast history of forever, that has happened just about every time.
Just about every day, turns out.
Yep.
But not today. Or last week.
And Hiyori is like, yeah, that's like me with Hinata. I really thought she would always be there, even when I, was a jerk, because, she's just a constant in my life.
Yeah.
But I said horrible, nasty things to her, and now I can't take them back because she's gone and nowhere near to apologize.
Yeah, she's guiding her sister down the path, and she runs into Ginko and is like, hey, look what I found. Sister, she's right here. And he's like, oh, she's been mushied, hasn't she? Look at that.
She's been all invisible because us, the viewer, don't see anything next to them until we go to basically Ginko's point of view, where it's like, oh, she is there.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yep. She's been all mushified.
She's been mushy.
I do like this
She's been
scene where he's
invisible.
sort of chastising the two of them, or at least her, a little bit.
Yeah.
So we get both girls' profiles, at least. So we get to see their character designs very nice up close at the same time. And I have to give this show a lot of credit. They actually look like little girls. It's
Yeah.
no weird, what you think of anime little girl. Doesn't look like that at all. They look like stylized humans.
Yep.
It's somewhat refreshing. honestly.
It's almost as if the mangaka was a woman who was going for some sort of realism.
No, that seems
and
silly.
not hyper pandering of Keijo or something.
Yeah. So Ginko and some dudes follow Hiyori back to the flower bed. And they start hacking it to pieces with hoes. And guess what? They find the root.
Well, I think it's important to say why, like, Hiyori is willing to, like, give up her going outside. It's because the only way that she can get Hinata back is by
Fixing the sun.
by hopefully, yeah, because if you can scatter all the mushi that are causing the eclipse, their influence will lessen, and then she'll probably come back. Because guess what? There's still the metaphor of Hinata being the sun in Hiyori's life. So
Indeed.
you know,
Which is explicitly
fix one problem, the other
spelled
one.
out for us later. But yeah, they do go and dig up this flower bed, and they find, quote, the root, which is nothing like you were expecting.
Yeah, no, it's a weird black goo.
That sort of seeps out of the ground. And so they put it in a big old bucket, load it up on a cart, and just start taking off.
Take booking it, because this is the sun's not gone everywhere. It's just they're just in a big shadow. So if they can get out from basically under the cloud of Mushi, the sun will be shining, and then they can expose the root to sunlight, and it'll dissipate, evaporate, whatever it is it does.
Something. Although the thing is that shadows, or the blockage, is way up there in the sky, and it's still growing, and angular velocity is a thing.
Yeah.
So they are
It kind of chases them for a
yeah,
while.
they're trying to chase the edge of the shadow, and it's ever expanding. And so they have to run faster and faster, these men with a cart, because they don't have any pack animals. Pack animals aren't a thing
Nope.
here. Although it is a little... I don't know if this is in the same village or not, but as they're running away from the village with this big bucket, some of the edge of the cloud lessens on, like, the side they're running away.
Yeah, because the cloud's trying
Oh, it's
to
following them,
to
isn't
keep
it?
shielding
yeah,
itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so this is the same village, but they're all excited that they're finally getting some sun back. So the men folk must have finally gotten their act together and started solving the freaking problem.
Yep. And so the village is starting to get enlightened a little bit.
Hardy har
Har,
har.
har, har. The dad runs in to tell the two girls that, hey, the sun's back. Sort of. And Hiyori's like, cool. Mixed emotions, but mostly cool.
But she also sees through the crack in the door some of the sunlight, and it's not like
Burning her face.
her burning her face off.
She's like, huh. This is odd. I wonder. And so she runs outside. And her dad's like, wait, no, don't do that. She's like, turns out
But
I'm cool now. What?
It doesn't hurt. Things seem to be okay.
This is better than I could have hoped for. What a good self-sacrifice will do. Turns out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the menfolk are still running very quickly and sweating and having just a rough time of it.
Well, they finally get out of the shadow and pop the bucket, and the thing kind of dissipates.
sort
I
of
guess.
evaporates.
It turns into weird gnats and scatters.
I feel like it evaporates.
It mushies away.
And it's not like a big dramatic thing. And the music isn't like
No.
big and exciting or anything. It's just like, oh,
Well, that's
yeah,
weird.
this is a thing and now it's gone. Ta-da!
Well, it's like you kind of view it as like having dramatic music when a puddle evaporates.
Yeah.
It's like this is just nature doing its thing, man.
And then immediately the shadow covering the sun, it also
Starts
vanishes.
to dissipate. Yep.
And the sun's back. Hooray!
But something falls from the sun.
And Ginko is apparently the only one that sees it because it's Mushi
Yeah.
related.
Yep. He's like, oh, huh.
It looks like a
I
thing.
wonder- That's weird. I should probably go get that.
So later he goes to visit the house where he has been this entire time. It turns out Hiyori's outside doing the laundry. And guess what?
Yeah.
Her hair has black roots now.
Yep.
I like that. It's not like her hair turned black. It's that
Yeah, it's not like instant.
it's that, oh yeah, it's still white, but now that it's growing again,
Yeah.
it's going to start growing black. And also her eyes have turned darker red. So tending towards brown. But not nearly as brown as her sister's.
She's starting to turn normal. And, you know, we get a slight cut to them all inside actually talking. He was like, well, you know, the terrible Eclipse Mushi normally have like do terrible things to you, but I guess it cancels out the moon version of itself. So Guess we learn something new every day.
Good job, team.
Good job, team. We learned how to solve this problem by causing an even bigger one that's more irritating to solve.
Yeah, so next time we find somebody who's an albino and has a rare skin disease.
Horrible Mushi disease.
Yeah,
Just take them outside during a horrible Mushi eclipse, and it kind of cancels itself out, we guess.
Yeah, it'd be fine. Everything will be cool.
I'm sure that's easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to see the prescription for that or the bill, but it can be done, apparently. He also pulls out of his little traveling apothecary box, which I'm sure has a name, but I'm not going to look that up. He pulls out this little thing that apparently fell from the sky, and it's like this crystal and jewel thingy. He's like, so, I guess we won't need this since you guys seem to be getting better. I mean, she's visible now, mostly, and almost not zonked out of her mind. And you have black roots and can go outside, so I guess we don't need this. I'll just save it for later. Tansu.
Tansu.
Mobile storage. I want one of these. Can I?
I know, I do too.
That'd be the best toolbox ever.
So here's a good way to date the show. They were used a whole lot between 1688 and 1704.
This thing says, the Tansu gradually became a feature of Japanese culture and daily life, 1657 to 1923. So somewhere in there.
There you go. Somewhere in there. But very likely not the 20s.
Yes, probably not the 20s. Well, he might still be from the 20s. Because
he's definitely not time traveling.
he still looks...
Because we know enough of his backstory to know that he's not an actual real-life time traveler.
He dresses like one.
Yeah, well, it's a cool character design. Shut up. You know how many stupid belts and zippers Sora has? Deal with it.
Apothecary chests was a Kusuri Dansu, which makes sense. Not very...
A festival one?
Kutsuri.
Oh, Kutsuri.
Yeah, Kutsuri.
I heard Matsuri.
No, Kutsuri.
So, it's a medicine chest instead.
And yes, it is from the Edo period.
But he is a time traveler because he goes to the humble apothecary is also seen in the Taisho era.
That's a good question.
Because there are definitely some Dinshas.
There's a Dinsha. I would have... hard to date that one. So yeah, anyway. The main story having been solved.
Yep.
The normal apothecary, in this case, which is actually mostly accurate.
Mostly accurate.
He goes to visit his doctor friend.
He's very normal for the world in which he lives.
I mean, he doesn't...
He's just kind of a specialist.
He doesn't do anything miraculous. He doesn't have a special sword or anything. He's just like, oh, yeah, there's some Mushishis, or there's some Mushis over there.
Give him this medicine.
Take 2 packets of this.
It'll be fine. We should at least wrap up the plot with Hinata, because she's still mostly invisibo.
Yeah, but she's getting better.
She is getting better, because Hiyori talks to her, and she starts responding with at least, like, head waggles.
Yeah, and Ginko doesn't seem too concerned. He's like, it should be good. Just give her a bit. Should be all right. So Ginko goes to visit his doctor friend from the beginning of the show. Essentially, he's like, yeah, I couldn't see any Mushis. I'm really upset about that. And also this really weird stuff's been going on. Like, there are a bunch of people that went outside and, like, they saw the eclipse, and now they're really having trouble sleeping, and their eyes
and some
hurt.
are, like, scared of the... And some of them are scared of the sun.
It's just really weird.
I don't understand it. How could any of this happen?
What could it be?
And Ginko's like, have you been able to cure it with the medicine I gave you? It's like, no.
I sent you like a whole box, dude.
I sent you like a letter that explained that this could happen and to give him that medicine I sent you. And the doctor just sort of stands up, grabs the chest, and runs down the hill to the village. It's like, but I didn't want to see the Mushi.
He's like, well, you can tell me your story when I get back, right? He's like, no, I gotta do stuff. I gotta go lay in a field.
I gotta bounce. I gotta go do my normal, everyday, real life stuff.
Yeah, we just take a nap in the grass. I'm gonna go deal with that. Have fun. And then we cut back to Tanyu, who was not the root or an evil Mushi.
Super not. She's kind of got a bad Mushi in her foot, but that's it.
Yeah, she isn't one.
It's getting better.
But she's got a letter from Ginko saying, hey, I got a cool story for you, so I'll be around pretty soon. I'm going to tell you all about it.
Don't wait up.
Which is essentially what she thinks. She's like, yeah, well, sure.
I'm sure he'll be back eventually.
Good thing I'm
Tell
patient.
me all about it. Also, she's got one of those cool Japanese pipes, and I like those a lot.
They are nice. Although it's essentially an opium pipe repurposed for tobacco, or the other way around, not sure. But Ginko wakes up from his nap in the grass, and he's like, hey, I still got this jewel thing. I should probably just hang on to it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find a use for it at some point. The end.
He does say it's nice weather, and I sure hope nothing bad happens to me today. Sure hope everything's perfectly normal.
Yeah, just like those eclipses. Totally normal, guys.
Normal eclipses.
Uh-huh.
So I will let you know if after the eclipse on the 21st I can't sleep, or if I wander into the woods and disappear.
Or if you're
I'll
you're
keep you some
temporarily
updates.
blind or something, and
Or temporary terrified of the sun.
that happens.
Yep. So, watch out for that. So,
Yes.
best. What was the best? What was the best?
Again, I love this. I like the subtle things that go into this show, like the sound design, the character design, all that stuff.
That's where you can really that's like there's a lot of love and care put into Mushishi, and it's in a lot of the sort of subtle things, because it's definitely not a very actiony show at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's more things going on in it than like Bartender or something, but they put they're very like low key emotional bittersweet stories, so the way they do the mood is just like really well done, and it's all in the subtleties.
Yeah. The plot, as far as it goes, did it need to be 50 minutes? Maybe not. But,
Nah.
I mean,
Because they really could have almost cut out that first 10
yeah.
of just the eclipse happening.
I was going to say, you could probably lop
But-
off the first part and the last part. And
It was a special to make it be an hour on TV.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I mean, this is typical for this kind of show. It takes its time, it meanders, which is good if you're in for that, but
yeah. Well, it doesn't really meander, but it definitely takes its time.
yes. It definitely takes its time, which is good, but it's not always what you're looking for. So it's not something that I recommend to people unless they enjoy slice of
unless
life
they
stuff.
already unless they're already into those sorts of shows,
And in which case it's like, okay, well then you need to watch Mushishi and you need to watch Aria. Obviously.
Obs.
What would you say was like the worst part of it, if any?
Worst part. I don't really know. It does sort of spell out the metaphor a bit too much. So
Especially with the girls'
But
names.
that-
I found
yeah,
that a
that'd
little
probably be
trite.
my only complaint. Well, I don't know. To be perfectly honest, Japanese names are a little more trite than
I mean,
American ones.
yeah, but
because that's just the way it
both
works.
girls had he in their name, and the whole thing's about the sun, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, yeah, but also like, what would you name them? Like, they're a fun dichotomy pair.
sure, but
So.
I mean, think about it.
Also, we can go by older Japanese naming conventions where you might not even have a name until you're like 5.
That's fair. But I mean, their
So-
defining characteristic was they were affected.
One can go outside and one can't.
Well, that too, but they were affected by something that happened with the moon while wife was pregnant, and then this weird thing happened. So you would think that if they were named after something like that, they would probably have like a ski name or something like that.
That's true.
So it was just like, as soon as both their names had he in it, I was like, really? I mean,
Yeah.
even I caught that. Come on. But little nitpick.
MVP.
MVP. It would obviously have to be Hiyori, because she's the one that has the hero turn at the end with the self-sacrifice
true.
and all, which works out in her favor, but she didn't know that was going to happen. And
That's
you don't
very
know
true.
that with Mushishi. She might have just vanished.
She could have just died.
Or that.
Because that's been known to happen on occasion.
I mean, for as far as she knew, she was just going to be locked in her room forever, and
Yeah.
she didn't want her sister to disappear because she couldn't handle the fact that she couldn't go outside
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So, your MVP,
I'll go with Ginko,
go.
just because I like him. He's a cool character. I like him a lot.
He does have a astounding amount of inaction when everybody else is running around trying to do stuff.
He's very good at inaction.
I noticed that. I'm like,
He's very good at just being sort of the calm center of like the wacky things, because he's like that plumber that's seen everything, that just like shows up to a house that's like completely flooded. He's like, yeah, we've seen this. You'll get that. Yeah, that'll happen.
Well, I noticed that initially when the villagers were all trying to find this something different that he wanted them to find,
Yeah.
and they were all looking. He's like, "Good job, guys. Keep on, keep looking. You guys are doing great."
Keep doing that. Well, to be
Which is normal.
To be fair, how could Ginko know what's different? He's never been here before.
Right, which is fine. But then later, when Hinata goes missing and everyone's running around, even the dad is like out of breath and like just beside himself. I don't know where she went. She's gone. I'm never going to see her again. Ginko's sort of standing right behind him going, I wonder what's down that path. That looks interesting. I'll go that way.
Well, again, in his defense, he was probably like, she probably got at by Mushi. You see this. You get this from time to time.
That's a fair assumption.
Gotta watch out.
Fair assumption.
She'll either show up or she won't. You got a 50-50 shot. That's how odds work.
Yeah, it's a good OVA, and if you like this kind of show, I definitely recommend watching the entire series.
Are you ready to watch the other special? I don't remember what the other special is. Let's see what it's about.
I don't know. Did you want to do that one next?
Mushi-shi. Yeah, we'll do that one next.
Okay,
Let's
that's fine.
see. Let me see what it is.
It was the
Not Depths of Winter.
special something.
Yeah, it's the special. I just don't know what episode it is. Ooh. It's the SB Path of Thorns. Oh, yeah. No, that one is pretty good.
Path of Thorns sounds ominous.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I remember seeing that
Not
one.
quite
It
as
was
ominous as the shadow
solid.
that devours the entire sun, but
I think that's one that was even a 2-part chapter in the manga too.
huh. Well, I guess we'll be watching that next week.
Yep. Did you get my link of what ultimately happens to Hinata?
Let's see. Oh, Invisibo.
I mean, where did he go?
That's a good
That
question.
Invisibo
That was a good show. I missed that show.
really was.
Good old Freakazoid. We should just ditch all this and just go back and watch Freakazoid.
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
But I'm not going to audibly explain visual gags.
I mean, we could.
It would be terrible. We could, but it'd be bad.
You know, he can't fly. He just puts his arms up and runs around making whoosh sounds.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, next week we'll watch the other Mushishi special. And then
Next week, we'll watch Invisibo.
maybe, if Invisibo is also a Mushi, which he might be, I don't know.
He may be.
Nobody knows. All right. See you next week.
All right. Bye. Forever.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us to leave comments or suggest future silly topics, you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter at Aniki Podcast. Or if you'd like to know more about the show and hear past episodes, check out our website at aniki.fm. See you next time on Aniki.